Hello, and welcome to the Paid Off Project, where I'm trying different side hustles to pay off the remainder of my student loan debt. We are still on reselling as a side hustle, which is something I am actively trying. I'd also note that if this happens to be the one, quote unquote, as far as side hustles, I'll hang out here and keep working it. The main goal is just to pay off the rest of my student loan debt, and however we get there, we get there. So let's see, on my third month as a reseller. Second month was really mostly vacation for me. I'll be honest, it wasn't a focus. I put my eBay and Poshmark accounts on vacation mode while I was gone to just not have to deal with it at all. But over this period of time, I've definitely learned some things that would be helpful if you're new to reselling so that you're not making mistakes as you get started. And some of these I'll say also tie into things that I've learned in my past business ventures because everything transfers, right? We learn something in one arena, it usually translates to another arena. If you're interested, my very first episode was exactly how much I made during my first month, including every single thing that sold. I'm trying to add a little bit of visual interest here, but this is mostly a voice type episode, YouTube situation for now, so it's a good one to throw in the background, but hopefully this screen is at least not blurry this time. So without further ado, hey new resellers, don't make these mistakes when selling on eBay and Poshmark. There's just 5. I'm sure there's plenty of other mistakes you can make, but just 5 that I'm going to talk about today. The first one, don't forget to list your items. This is probably personality dependent, but if you've been going to garage sales or estate sales or your local Goodwill to gather up items, purchase items to resell, sometimes there can be a tendency to sit on those items and not publish them because for many of us, there's a little bit of a high in the purchasing of things and even like maybe purchasing and looking up on the spot and seeing, oh my goodness, I can pay $2 for this and turn it around for 20 or more, depending. But listing for many people is just not as fun, a little more tedious. It's also not money coming in immediately, but I think there can be a tendency to not list the items that you have because, let's be real, buying's more fun for most people. Myself, just this month, maybe I purchased one item. Oh no, I purchased a few things at a store, but I wasn't looking for them. I just stumbled upon it going out of business sale. But otherwise, I'm keeping on myself to follow this and finish up listing what I already have. The second one, don't worry if you don't make sales right away. When I first started this process, was doing the Googling. How long does that take to sell your first item? Spoiler alert, the overall answer is it depends. And that's literally what I got from Googling that. And it's not really helpful, right? Like fixating on what's the amount of time going to be doesn't mean it's actually going to be that amount of time, right? Even if you could decipher it takes an average of 10 days, that doesn't mean it's going to be 10 days for you. It could be 2 days, it could be 20 days. So my advice would be focus more on the things that are within your control, and sales will follow as long as you're reasonably priced and there's some demand for the items. But it could take some time. For reference, because I know people still are curious, I looked it up and this was some luck and some pricing. My first eBay item was 2 Patagonia hats that I was reselling. I'd bought a lot of 4 of them thinking, oh my God, this is so cheap for $20, but they were used. So I put 2 together and those sold in like 2 days from after I posted them, but my profit was about $5 total. My goal there was once I realized, oh wait, there's a lot of these being sold, mine aren't in perfect condition, was just to move them. I don't have a ton of space in my place, so I don't really want to hold inventory for large amounts of time. And I hadn't used eBay in years, as a seller at least. And I wanted to start building up my reputation, so get those over, get a good rating, then at least I have a recent rating. So there's some strategy to that. But pricing them inexpensively, right? $15 for 2 Patagonia hats is a good deal, even in imperfect condition. Helped me do that. My next eBay sale wasn't for 2 weeks from when I had first started posting and first posted that item, but that was a much bigger sale. So Poshmark, let's see, I think, oh man, I just looked. My first sale, I think, was about a week, 10 days, somewhere in that range. And it happened to be these shorts that I already owned and was just trying to get rid of. So it's funny, you never know what's going to sell. They were too short on me. They were super cute. Again, Patagonia. And so we might take a lesson that people are interested in affordable Patagonia. Personally, like the brand a lot and their philosophies, but that is an aside. So really, my advice is, as much as you can, it's impossible not to a little bit. Don't worry so much about the timing of your first sales. Just focus on doing things right, getting items you think you can turn for a profit, pricing them right, and then just list it and let it be and live your life. And the most exciting thing is, it's always, not always, but there's a Murphy's Law of type that it's going to be when you're not thinking about it that you make sales and you're like, oh my God, that's so cool. I was just went about my normal work day and at the end of the day saw I had made sales or whatever it might be. So third is don't overbuy supplies. For reference, my current net income from reselling's in the hundreds of dollars, not thousands, hundreds. And so, this is a side hustle for me. I have an intense job. It's just not the number one priority. But I think regardless, even if you really are being pretty aggressive with trying to turn this into, we'll say part-time or full-time job, in the beginning, you are outputting money, right? You're picking up things to resell. I would advise, to the extent you can, look around your house. There's probably things you can resell that don't cost you anything, but don't overbuy supplies. If you're watching some YouTubes or just like learning about the reselling process, you're going to be told about things you can buy and printer, heat printer, I think it is, for labels. But initially, to the extent you can, work with what you have and buy like one or two of what you need. So I'll give you a specific example. Shipping supplies. One, if you took the plunge and you pay for an eBay store, I believe you can get some free supplies. Poshmark, you can get some free supplies like mailers, envelopes, boxes. Two, you're probably buying things in your real life that come in boxes or that you can use to ship things. So don't buy more than you need to. It's cool for the environment to reuse. I think particularly eBay, Poshmark people, it's not unexpected that things are coming in different boxes. So, or like packing tape. People got opinions on packing tape. My parents, as I think I've mentioned, are hobbyists on eBay, and they've had some little antique kiosks, I guess, like a small spot in those antique malls that you go to over the years. But my dad likes this packing tape that has no teeth to rip it on. He is convinced this is the packing tape for him. Drives me nuts. I like the one with teeth so I can rip it easily. The point of that is it's okay to buy one unit of packing tape to figure out what you like before you go and buy 36 of the same roll to get a bulk discount. And there's also things like, multi-$100 like label printer. If you're not at a high volume of sales and you're not making enough money, you don't want to lose all of your profit right off the bat. You can always buy that down the line. And this is particularly true. Maybe you have an at-home printer and paper that you can use. Over time, sure, there's going to be a level where the use of ink, it's a trade-off. But for most people that are just doing that on the side, it's not right now. So I'm not saying don't buy any supplies. I bought bubble wrap. That's super important for properly packaging fragile items. No problem with that. Bought it off eBay. Not eBay, bought it off Amazon. I didn't go too bulk, again, because of space, but I bought a decent amount to get started. And I may invest in, if I keep selling pretty good, some nice scissors for cardboard cutting. But for now, It sucks, but I'm using the scissors I have. It's tedious, it's hard to cut, but I don't need $30 scissors yet. So I put date before you get married, just because that's the concept that I thought of is make sure you're sticking with reselling before you buy all of the things, that you're profitable enough to buy the things. So I was way more passionate about not overbuying supplies than I thought I would be. But here is our next one. Oops. Don't forget to add don't. This should say do not forget to account for shipping and fees. I think I mentioned this too in a previous one, but when you're figuring out profit, it's not I bought a beer stein for $1 and sold it for $100. Ooh, I made $99. No, or at least not profit. You also have to factor in your fees on Poshmark and eBay. That includes whether you did any promoting. Promoting's where you say, hey, eBay, I'll give you 5% of this sale if you show this to more people. It can be valuable to do that because eyes equals sales, but depends. And then in some cases, you might have shipping costs. Sometimes you do have to buy perfect package to send the item because you don't have anything, or you undercharged a little for shipping. So just account for those things, both in your accounting and then your bookkeeping, and then also when you're figuring out how to price things. Ideally, you can do that before you make the purchase, but if not, just on how to price things. Make sure to remember that it's not just what you bought it for and what you sold. There's other fees involved. All right, the last little tip. Don't get caught up in perfection. Perfect is the enemy of complete. That is a phrase that over the years I come back to because I have that personality that can get so caught up in figuring it out that I'm not actually doing right. A similar phrase is analysis leads to paralysis. Do some analysis, do some self-educating and learning, but don't get so caught up in perfection that you're spending 2 hours watching YouTube and 20 minutes actually working on your business. One, you can listen to things like this with shitty visuals in the background, but two is you're not actually going to get the momentum. If you're not working on the business, it's not. And you can adjust most things as you go, right? You will make some mistakes, maybe some that aren't even listed here, and you'll learn, and you will definitely remember those lessons that you personally learned. But to make money, you have to be doing, and no one even need, if you're you're worried about what people think, just don't tell people what you're doing and just resell. I guess outside of your household, you got to tell your household, but people need to know, and you don't need to have that added pressure if that's something that gets to you. But mostly I think the tendency is to just get caught up in this loop of learning, and not doing. And it's the doing that brings you money. So hopefully one or more of those are helpful to you. And if you enjoyed this, if you want to follow along, I think my next income report will be coming in somewhere after June wraps up. Please feel free to subscribe. All right, thanks.